Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session. I am Achintya Bhatt, Product Manager for Dynamo at Autodesk. In this session, we'll talk about Dynamo roadmap, innovations, and strategy for the future. In this presentation, I'll be talking about upcoming features and roadmap. While I'm excited to talk about them, please don't make any purchasing decisions based on these future-looking statements. So let's take a moment to review our safe harbor statement. With that, a brief overview of the agenda here. In this presentation, I'll be talking about why use Dynamo and how Dynamo fits into the world of design and manufacturing. Next, we'll also take a look at some of the latest updates and features in Dynamo. I'll briefly highlight how they can be leveraged in your projects. And lastly, we'll talk about the Dynamo roadmap. We have some exciting plans for our future, and we want to share our vision with you. This section will cover our strategic direction that Dynamo will be pursuing to stay ahead of the curve, and we'll also talk about some upcoming features and improvements. By the end of this presentation, you'll have a good understanding of Dynamo's current capabilities, recent advancements, as well as the future trajectory. So without any ado, let's get started. Dynamo has become an indispensable tool for AEC professionals. And one of the reasons why is it's because it's a visual programming interface that offers powerful capabilities like automation and optimization, enabling users of all technical backgrounds to create complex workflows and innovate with ease. In this section, we'll explore how Dynamo can be leveraged to drive that forward-thinking solution, ultimately transforming the way the projects are executed and conceived. When we look at the design technology spectrum, we observe a progression from traditional human-driven methods to more advanced integrated approach. So on the left-hand side, we have design methods that involve only humans holding the pen, starting from CAD or parametric modeling. And what I mean by holding the pen is in these methods, we are relying on human intuition and manual efforts. Whereas as we move towards the center, we transition to a more combined design approach between humans and computers, incorporating those computational thinking. This is where Dynamo plays a crucial role. Dynamo can be leveraged to define those step-by-step design directions or process or algorithms that will define the process as well as the parameters and the relationship between those parameters. This integration enables for more efficient and accurate designs. As we further enter into the realm of generative design, this is where the approach is more integrated and there's a integrated workflow between human and computers, and it's building on top of the computational process in the previous what we talked about. So what generative design does is it involves more complex computational process. So it can iterate and produce multiple design options that is possible, at the same time optimize the solution based on the goals that have been defined. Generative design for Revit is particularly powerful in those use cases where you have a very complex design process and multiple goals, which are also at tension. So to find those best possible solution between all of those. Generative design is the engine that runs the Dynamo graph. And what it does, it generates all of those multiple options for you using that power of that engine and also optimize it based on the goals that is defined by the designer. It is important to note here that even though generative design falls under that broader AI umbrella, it does not involve any machine learning or natural language processing. Another power here of Dynamo is that it also integrates seamlessly with multiple products across Autodesk ecosystem, like Revit, Civil 3D, RoboStructural Analysis, Advanced Steel, Alias, Format, as well as Forma in beta now. So beyond integrating with these products, what Dynamo can also be leveraged for is translating information, all the data and geometry in various formats between all of these tools. So it can be something as simple as Excel or exporting your data into JSON format so it can be used by other products, or even querying data from Autodesk data models. What this ensures is it ensures that the data is interoperable and data is available to all professionals to easily access and utilize. Given the multidisciplinary nature of the AEC industry and the diversity of tools everybody relies on, Dynamo comes in handy and addresses this challenge and also acts as that invaluable asset to translate information and connect all of these data and tools that are required to finish your workflow. And as we've already talked about briefly in the introduction, is Dynamo excels in automating those repetitive and time-consuming tasks. So what it does is it not just frees up your time to focus on more creative and innovative things, but by also streamlining and automating this workflow, it also minimizes those human errors. So it's builds the efficient workflow and also more precise workflow at the same time. And given it's so powerful in automating and it can generate multiple options in a very short period of time, another power of Dynamo is rapid iteration. So especially in those design process where you have want to generate multiple options, do what if scenarios, and evaluate based on multiple data points, this is where like you can define those steps and hand off some of those manual tedious tasks off to Dynamo and rapidly iterate and optimize your design solution. And the beauty of it all is Dynamo can be leveraged throughout your project lifecycle. For example, in early conceptual design phases, Dynamo can be leveraged in Forma to do some quick site analysis. As the project evolves into a preliminary design phase, the architect can use Dynamo for Revit and do some quick facade optioning, as well as do some solar analysis. And as the project further evolves into a detailed design phase, a structural engineer can leverage Dynamo with structural analysis tool for some optimization as well as automating structural calculations. And then the BIM manager or the fabricator can further take it and do some BIM workflow automation and generate sheets and annotations rapidly, as well as query the data for quick quantity takeoffs or do some project management reporting as well. And all of this becomes even better because it is also customizable and also extremely flexible. So in design and manufacturing industry, users often encounter limitations with out-of-the-box tools because not all workflows are similar. There are some unique and niche workflows, and this is primarily because design industry is extremely multidisciplinary and codes and process change from region to region, project to project. So there is no one size fits all. So when you kind of hit those walls and within the custom out of the box features, you can look towards Dynamo to provide that customization. Dynamo enables you to expand on the out of the box features by tapping into the API, as well as all the good things, the data and the geometry, and then use it to develop your own custom workflows, ensuring that it meets your precise workflow needs. An important feature of Dynamo is that it also provides a transparency. It is not really a black box, but rather a glass box. So in engineering and manufacturing, transparency and visibility of data is crucial for performing those checks and building trust in the final design output. And Dynamo provides that transparency, allowing you to see and understand the process and step by step understand how the data is flowing between those steps. This visibility will give you more confidence and trust in that final output. So with Dynamo, you have the flexibility to customize and adapt the out-of-the-box tools, so breaking through those barriers set up by the standard functionalities, and also creating a tailored solution to meet your unique requirements, as well as have more visibility and build that trust into your workflows. And once you have created those workflows, the next thing is you want to be able to share it with others in your organization so that they can leverage the power of the Dynamo graph as well and multiply the benefits. Dynamo Player is designed to enable this. So Dynamo Player offers those simplified interface that allows other users to run the Dynamo graphs without needing to open the Dynamo environment. So what it makes it is users can quickly open it with simple UI within Revit or Civil 3D or Alias and interact and execute the Dynamo graph with simple clicks of button, drop-down fields, entering some data, and so on. So this makes it more accessible to a wider range of users who might not have the same technical expertise as someone who's putting together the Dynamo graph. So it kind of builds upon and makes it more accessible and reusable and multiplies the benefits of one single graph. Now that we have explored the out-of-the-box capabilities of Dynamo, let's turn our attention to some of those powerful third-party tools that enhance Dynamo's capabilities even further. So we've talked in the previous slide about sharing and collaborating with Dynamo Graph. So Orchestra Online is one such third-party tool, which is extremely powerful. So in helping you share and collaborate using Dynamo Graph. So what you can do is use it to deploy your graphs easily, ensure that the end user gets the right version of the graph, as well as all the packages and the documentation that is required for each of those particular workflows, or convert your Dynamo graphs into simple icons on your Revit toolbar, and also look into the goodness of all the data of like how often is it used and do some ROI analysis and so on. Nonica is one other such tool as well, which enables you to convert your Dynamo graphs into custom Revit toolbars, so making it more accessible and easily available to users across your organization. Bird Tools has a Dynamo multiplayer. So this is a free Revit add-in that serves as a powerful batch processing tool. So what it allows you is to seamlessly batch process, for example, using your Dynamo graph to export PDFs or set up multiple projects. And the best part is you can schedule these automated Dynamo runs. So it's not just saving you time, it's also more efficient that way. As we look to the future, the ongoing development of such amazing tools by all the third-party developers out there that build on top of Dynamo's capabilities, we think that this adds new possibilities for all of the Dynamo users and provides an extra layer of superpower. So traditionally, you would need some traditional developer skills to do it. So now as an AEC professional, you can still leverage Dynamo along with some of these third-party capabilities to develop custom tools and make it more accessible for users across the organization. Last but not the least, when we talk about Dynamo, the first thing that comes to mind is all the amazing Dynamo packages and the community out there. So we briefly talked about how like AEC industry in design and manufacturing, workflows can also be niche, but the principles of it are all the same. So if you've hit a roadblock, there is no custom node or a workflow within Dynamo, there are an 80% chance that somebody else has also faced the same problem and they've already developed a custom node or a package which will automate this. So you can leverage that and build on top of that. So you don't have to start from scratch if you want to do something. So that's an amazing thing. And as you can see on the screen here, like as of today, we have had more than 7 million downloads for packages. So that goes a long way and shows how useful all of these packages are, and that's openly shared by all the amazing community members. Now that we have talked about Dynamo capabilities briefly, let's switch gears and talk about what's new in Dynamo. We have just released Dynamo Cloud Service. Also, you might have heard it as Dynamo as a Service, or DaaS in short. It is in open beta now, so it's highly coupled with Forma today, but will become an APS API in the not too distant future, so that way enables connection beyond Forma. It is different to Dynamo Desktop. So if you're used to Dynamo Desktop, there will be some limitations. So what I mean by that is there is no Python support as of today, as well as there are very limited packages. So we have curated a subset that have been compiled to work with the Linux version of Dynamo running in the cloud. But as you can notice, these packages are built by Dynamo team members, so we support it now, but we are working to expand on this. And the reason why there are these limited functionality is because of the aggressive security stance we have taken on this. Given Dynamo is arbitrary code and the potential of any risk can be rather expensive, we have taken a very robust stance on this to make sure that any malicious actors will have an incredibly tough time to do anything. And this entails encrypting in-transit data, as well as destruction of the DAS instance after every run, so that there is no residual code left for any malicious actors to act upon. So now we've talked about Dynamo as a service. So when to use Dynamo as a service with Forma versus when to use Dynamo Desktop with Forma. So use Dynamo service when you want to seamlessly share your Dynamo graph with your colleagues. They want to simply access it from their browser without having to install anything, do some quick analysis and see some results. So that's amazing. It's a great way to share your Dynamo graphs and make it accessible to others in your organization who need not author it. You must still use Dynamo Desktop to author your graphs, and then you can upload it to Forma. So that's how we have it as of today, but things might change in the future. So we'll keep you posted. And Dynamo's desktop is also powerful if you want to leverage to wider capabilities like Python support, as well as all the good packages available out there from the community, as well as if you want to integrate with Revit and Civil 3D and to connect Forma or Revit, Forma and Civil 3D for your workflow, that's when you could use Dynamo Desktop. For all your data management and interoperability workflows, we now have Data Exchange package. So the Dynamo Data Exchange package is designed to enable automating and sharing up-to-date information effortlessly. And it includes nodes that will allow you to read and retrieve data from Autodesk data models as it integrates with Data Exchange GraphQL APIs. So these nodes allow you to apply specific criteria to filter the data and extract only the information that you really need. And once you have that data in Dynamo, then you have access to all the other Dynamo nodes that you can use to query and further use in your workflow as you wish. For instance, if you're a BIM manager, you can leverage this capability to pull data and parameters and set up a workflow. That way you can have a Power BI reporting set up, and that way set up regular refresh so you have up-to-date information for your analytics report. It can also support cross-team collaboration. So for example, if there is a structural engineering firm and an architecture firm working together on a design and they're in the middle of a design phase working iteratively through it, and they want to have access to some information for their respective workflows that rely on information from the other. That is when you can use Data Exchange package to just like pull in that information that you need from the structural engineer and use it in your architecture workflow. So this targeted data sharing eliminates the need to transfer bulky files. So that way streamlines the overall process and ensures it's also available in a timely manner. Graph Engine node is another recent addition to the Dynamo family. So this node allows you to run a Dynamo process in parallel within another instance of Dynamo. So it runs on the background without a visible window. So what it means is running a graph, calling a graph within a graph, and then running it in another instance. This feature is particularly useful for executing bits of logic that you use very frequently, so saving that time and effort of rebuilding the same logic again and again in every workflow. Or if you have like complex conditional workflows and a lot of conditional logics there to call upon the bits of logic that you need. So this can be very handy to manage those complex big Dynamo graphs and workflows. So this is just a beginning for us. This is available to download from Package Manager. We are continuing to work on this in the future as well. We think there are a lot of capabilities just from this one node, and more to come on this. And we've talked about Package Manager, and Package Manager is loved by everyone and also probably one of the most used component within Dynamo. But package version management can be quite tedious and a lot of pain for some people. So what we have done is we put a lot of love in there, and we have made it more smarter, and there's a smarter install button now. So when you click on that install button from Package Manager, a compatible version of the particular package will be installed automatically, but as long as the package author has provided that information. And for this, we've also updated the package publish workflow. There's a new wizard in there for authors to provide all of this information more seamlessly and smoothly. So a more joyful experience for both package authors as well as package users. And all of this information is also available on the Package Manager website as well. So you need not open Dynamo Desktop if you want to update anything or look up which version of the package you need. You can just quickly on the go open Package Manager on your browser and access all of this information. A new Python engine, PythonNet 3, is now available for Dynamo on Package Manager. So if you're thinking, why another Python engine in Dynamo? So the purpose of this new engine is to close that gap that has existed for some time when we made the shift from IronPython to CPython. We had to make that shift because of security reasons, but when we did that, there were limitations within CPython, which caused a lot of pain as well as breaking some workflows and so on. So this is why we have put in a lot of effort, and there is that we bridged that gap as much as we can in this first release. There's some minor things that have been left out, which we are working on, and we aim to make it a default engine in Dynamo 4.0 in the future. For now, we are preserving CPython as the default engine, and you can download PythonNet 3 and have it side by side, so it will allow you to compare as you're doing those migration. There are also a button that will enable you to quickly bulk edit the engine for all the nodes in your graph. So we want to ensure that you have a more smoother and easier migration experience this time. TuneUp is a profiling extension in Dynamo, and what it does is it logs the execution time for each of your node. So this comes in very handy when you have a very complex graph and you're trying to hone in on what particular section of the graph is taking more time and trying to optimize your algorithm. And we have made it now out of the box. So previously it was a package that you had to download. We have made a lot of improvements, and now it's available out of the box. So it's available to all users who previously might not have had access to TuneUp. Another thing that's hot off the press and very new to Dynamo family is the Curve Mapper node. So the new Curve Mapper node enables you to map data using mathematical curves, using simple UI controls. So no longer have to hold all of those math in your head and like do all the sine and cosine functions trying to change the amplitude and frequency. Whereas here now you have like a simple UI node. It supports 9 mathematical curves, and you can easily use the UI controls to define the shape so you can get like more intricate geometry easily. So it's just one node, but we have seen the power of it already in the community, and we think it's a significant improvement in Dynamo's geometry capabilities. And we've added a lot of geometry capabilities in the recent past. So just a summary of that, paneling nodes provide you with the capabilities to create intricate and custom panel designs. So they can be a variety of panel patterns from regular grids, parallelograms, octagons, and so on. That way it will enable, for example, architects to explore complex and facade or interior solutions faster. Previously, we had T-splines in experimental mode. Now it's available by default in Dynamo. So T-spline, what it allows you to do is sew together smaller surfaces into more continuous, smooth, and organic shapes. So you can use a minimal set of like points, control points on lines, and get that organic shape faster. Mesh Toolkit, which was previously a package. We made some improvements and bug fixes, and now it's available out of the box. So you can import meshes from external file formats or create mesh within Dynamo, repair meshes, and so on. So overall, a lot of additions in the recent past, which builds upon Dynamo's geometry capabilities, and so that you have a more and better performance in your Dynamo authoring experience. Okay, so now that we have talked about what's new in Dynamo, maybe let's switch gears now and talk about what's coming in the future. As we evolve Dynamo into the future, we have three main directions we are looking at. We want to strengthen the base as well as we want to build the future. And while we do that, we want to embrace AI in this journey. In Strengthen the Base, we want to ensure that Dynamo meets the existing user expectations. So what I mean by that is like Dynamo does what it's supposed to do. It's more performant, it is stable, and it is that first-in-class tool for computational design. And it also becomes more joyful and a loved authoring experience as well. As and when the graph complexity grows, the overall experience doesn't deteriorate and it continues to be a joyful experience. In Build the Future, we are going to modernize our authoring and compute paradigms. So that way we leave behind the weight of the past. So what it does is it's going to be set inside a cloud native world, which means that it's also going to democratize the access. And we want to do it while also making sure we build that trust, and we want to be champions of the trust and ensure that everything is secure. Ultimately, the goal is to make tool building with Dynamo dramatically simple. And we want to do this by embracing AI, as I mentioned. So in Embrace AI, what we're going to do is we are going to reimagine Dynamo principles by capturing both the user intent and leveraging it so that Dynamo has that intelligence layer. So as the users grow, Dynamo grows in tandem with it and gets smarter with every interaction. So that way we can release new features faster. At the same time, it's also like the outcome that Dynamo gives is also smarter, and you can build graphs faster as well. So we are shoring up the base of Dynamo by making it more performant, making it more stable, adding more feature density, honing all of those rough edges. And at the same time, we are running towards that future, making sure we are ready for the future and ensuring that all of our users can do more with Dynamo than what they can do right now. So now that we have talked about our strategic direction, let's talk about some of the things that we are actively working on or considering working on and exploring in the near future. So the Dynamo public roadmap is available. You can use this link to log in and provide your feedback. We update it frequently. You can also submit your ideas. Would highly recommend. We are always looking for to hear what you want to say and what you want to do more with Dynamo. In this section, let's briefly look at what's in progress as well as what are some of the things under consideration. The in progress section highlights the key projects that we are actively working on right now. So under Dynamo Core, we have machine learning empowered node autocomplete clusters. So Rather than suggesting just a hierarchical list of single nodes to place when you click on each node, we want to leverage machine learning and further take it a step by suggesting cluster of nodes. So starting with clusters of 4 to 6 nodes based on common patterns of node usage. So this way it accelerates the overall ability to build graphs as well as kind of smoothens that learning curve and lean on the expertise of the broader Dynamo community. And when it comes to strengthening the base, performance is our key priority. And with respect to performance improvements, we are looking at enhancing the overall user experience, which includes like loading Dynamo, saving Dynamo, so turbocharging that overall opening up Dynamo and loading your graph experience, as well as seamless navigation within your graph as you're authoring. So irrespective of how complex the graph is, how large the graph is, the overall experience doesn't deteriorate, and you can like continue to develop Dynamo graphs faster and easily and more joyful experience without any lags of any or any like performance degradation. Under Dynamo Cloud, we are looking to get Dynamo as a service in Forma to production in the future, as well as we are looking at a Forma connected client. So that way you can access and work with Forma elements directly from Dynamo without having to use the Dynamo Forma player. As well as looking at intelligent data sourcing. So our initial goal here is to create a single platform wherein you can access data from different data sources. Now let's talk about some of the things under consideration. So under consideration for on the AI side, we are looking at further leveraging AI to have Python help as well as Dynamo graph optimization. So again, tapping into kind of like enabling you to build graphs faster and lean on that expertise of the broader community. As well as on the performance side, looking further on like when you have like complex geometry, how can we make the rendering faster? How can we do the computation faster so that you can continue to have more complex workflow and get your results faster and more efficient without Dynamo degrading at any point and Dynamo being stable throughout this. As we wrap up, I hope you're excited about the future of Dynamo as I am and the incredible possibilities it's going to bring to your workflows. Thank you all for your time and have a fantastic day. I look forward to seeing what you all achieve with Dynamo.